Welcome to the Collecting the King Show special edition. This one is called Johnny B is Back. This will be the first show that I've ever done where I've used StreamYard, so you'll actually be able to see kind of what his collection looks like in a way, because he's going to be on his computer, and then you're going to be able to see his records and his pictures of Elvis that he has collected over the years on his walls. And he's actually put together a complete Elvis collection 3 times. But most important, he's going to be talking about the progress he's making on completing a 4th Elvis US LP collection of original pressings. That's right, his 4th complete collection. So he started off by just collecting reissues, and he just wanted one title. He didn't care if it was original or not. Much to his surprise, he found a lot of originals for a lot cheaper than the reissues that he was collecting. So he just sort of like filled the gaps with originals. This is the first time that I'm going to be using StreamYard with a guest. Those of you who watch YouTube channels see this all the time, but this is the first time that I've done it. So the show was recorded on StreamYard, and we'll be kind of testing out this whole StreamYard thing and see how well it works. Following up on the last show's topic, we'll also be talking to a dealer at a record show that John and I attended, and he's going to give us his insight on what it's like to sell Elvis records now. So that'll be kind of interesting too. If you like the show, please be sure to hit the like button and then subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button, and of course hit the bell, and we'll let you know about all future shows. And we got a lot of great shows coming up. So without further ado, here's Johnny B. You have all those shots of Elvis behind you. Those are actual real photos, right?
Yes. Ed Bonja, that's the 24 by 36 of the original color from Elvis Presley Boulevard. You know, those are all from the original negatives. Most of these are Keith Alverson I picked up at your show over the years. I have them all around the room, but you can't. They're in front of me, behind me, on the side of me. They're all, the whole wall is.
Yeah, I know. It would be a little hard to turn the camera around to show them all, but every wall
from the top to the bottom of the floor is filled with photos, mostly from the 70s. I have the Girl Happy right over here. I have the Girl Happy poster print, the 16 by 20. Mostly it's 70s. I don't know. I like a lot of pictures from I like Elvis in the 70s. But in front of me, which you can't see, they're all in white frames. They're all from That's the Way It Is. I call it the That's the Way It Is wall.
So on to your left, all right, and on the right of the picture for us, that's what records are those? I mean, that's like a shelving unit with a bunch of at least 1,000 records, right?
Yeah, this is all. The records here are all after Elvis died, FTDs and all the foreign. That's what's here. Behind me. Can you
give us an example of maybe a rare FTD there? Can you reach one?
An FTD?
Yeah, one of the rare ones.
Well, I got standing room only.
Okay, and that one's rare, all right.
Yeah, that's standing room only.
Yeah. Did you get that when it first came out?
Yes, when it first came out.
Okay, so you only paid like $50 for it?
Yeah, $50. That's all.
Wow. So you're lucky.
I had sold some of the FTDs. That one I never sold. And then I've gotten them all back except Blue Hawaii. Blue Hawaii is the only one I'm missing. But this is all Wax Times, FTDs. Oh, it's all American too. But it's the newer stuff, all the stuff that's come out that Sony Legacy's done since he died. All the special,
you got the stuff, the Friday musics.
The Friday musics are in here, and like I said, all the Sony Legacy stuff. All the stuff like the Memphis that just came out. Yeah, those are all originals, and of course, like I said, I collect all of the various artists and all that kind of stuff is in there. That's what's back there.
Okay, and I remember, like I told everybody on the last show, that you had gotten pretty much everything back that you that you originally had sold, because you sold the collection about 3 times, right?
Three times. This is my, but I wasn't that concerned about getting originals. I thought I just want to have one representative, or a rigid or a black dog near top. That was fine. But it kind of snowballed where, you know how collecting goes. It snowballed because I was able to find, which is part of this, I was able to find a lot of originals cheap. So I bought them. I wasn't going to pass them up.
So you started off, like I had suggested, and I think when you were on the show on set here, we had both said that if you're just starting collecting, a good way to start is just getting one of each title and not pay attention to whether it's original or reissue.
Yes, whatever I find. We do a lot of shows, so whatever the show basically started by going to the record shows that you do. You know, we do all those records, South Bend and Chicago, and so that's where I started buying. And I got, you know, I'll show a couple of examples that I got, and that's how it started. It was basically just to get one representative of each album, and I didn't really care what it was. You know, it didn't have to be an original. It just worked out that way where I just, you know, I was able to find a lot of them. So, you know, that part of the reason is because there's a gentleman I met who was selling all his triples, and I mean triples and quadruples. He kept all of his collection, one of each himself, but he's been collecting for so long. He had so many doubles and triples that were stone mint, beautiful, perfect records, which I got a couple here. So that helped a lot.
I'm sure some of the viewers would be interested to hear your opinion about the last show. What did you think about? Because I talked about the values and the future of collecting, and that kind of thing. What did you think of the last show?
Oh, I mean, I'm not a soothsayer, so I can't predict the future. I hope, you always want records to really go up in value. You don't want to buy this stuff. I mean, it depends why you're buying. A lot of people, a lot of people buy them and they say, I'll never sell. I'm never going to sell any of my stuff. I don't buy it for monetary reasons. I buy it because I love Elvis. It's who's out there to buy in the future, and who if these young people want to buy, if they want to buy records, I think it can continue to go up. If not, it's hard to say where the market's going to go. To me, it's cleanliness is the first thing. The rarity of a pressing, clarity, and the cleanness. How nice is it? That plays a big part too. But I've seen, like I said, I've seen prices drop on certain records. I've seen prices go up. So it's all over the board. I guess it just depends where you live, what you have access to, what you can get. It's hard to say. But I think for the most part, I think people would want it to always stay high. We know Elvis is the king. Elvis is always going to be in demand. And I just can't see that.
Well, there's two types of collectors, and a lot of viewers who've watched the show have told me that, well, Robert, from your perspective, you're always looking at everything from a value standpoint. You know what I mean, as a dealer, and that's kind of the dealer in me, because I do when I look at stuff, I think, well, how much is this going to be worth, or how much is that going to be worth? And, of course, working on the price guide, and you worked on it too with me, we had to kind of play a soothsayer at that point too, right? Because we had to kind of predict what records are still worth money and what are going to be worth money and that kind of thing. So, as far as values and stuff like that, getting back to your new collection, how much money do you think you've spent? And you don't have to give me an exact number, but how much money do you think you've spent so far on this collection versus the last three?
A fraction. I would say maybe the very first one wasn't really expensive too, because that was years and years ago, and the records hadn't gone up in such value at that. So it's tough to compare this one. Maybe I compare this one maybe to the very first. The second and the third were probably the most expensive, because by that time things really started going up. When I first started collecting, that was years and years ago. So the prices I don't think the prices were anywhere near what they eventually went up to. So
you told me you started off just getting one of each title, and you didn't care. You just got a reissue or whatever. But then didn't you say that at one point in time you were getting first pressings for almost less sometimes than a reissue, and you thought, well, what the hell? I might as well just get the originals, right?
Yeah, well, that's what happened. Yeah, because I said I got this. I saw this collection of this stuff that I was able to pick through, and they were basically some like white top menorahs, white top stereos, but some were originals, and they weren't, since they weren't expensive. I said, well, the heck with it. Why get King Creole on a tan or why get King on a black dog near top when I can get the original? And so it was like, well, what the heck? I thought down the road, well, if I'm down the road, if I'm going to sell these again, I'll get more money for the original than I will for the black dog near top.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why
you have some examples of that, right? Right with you here that you can show.
Yes.
And then it's okay if you want to tell us what you paid, because that is kind of going to be the shocking point too, especially if you show us some of your best finds.
Here, this is the one again. This is an original King Creole first press long play, bone mint, almost a bone mint cover, stone mint cover with a record, $100.
Okay, all right.
And
that's very good.
4 or 5. I paid $100 for this.
Yeah, that's very
good. The only
good
thing I'm
price.
missing is the photo. I still have to get a photo. I want to get the Army photo to put with it. I don't think I ever got this album this cheap, even on the other.
And there's some people out there that's going to think $100 is too much for that record.
Well, at $100, that's a steal. That's just a steal. Then I got this one. You'll see. This is for LP. This is a white top stereo, Victor stereo, but it's the double-sided cover, as you can see.
In the shrink.
In the shrink wrap. It does have a teeny itsy bitsy little split just starting, but I paid $60 for this.
Oh God!
And it's the double. You can see it's got the double-sided.
What's that? What's that in the book for? Is that like $300?
$300 or more, maybe more, $400 or $500.
I mentioned that record on the last show, because it's one of those RCA mistakes. With the back cover and everything. And I was referring to the On Stage, how On Stage has the different back cover, the reissues, because I still think those are going to be the future collectibles. What else you got?
I got, here's a Paradise. It's an original stereo in the shrink.
Mm-hmm.
I got this at South Bend. $7.
$7.
I saw somebody bought one of these on eBay sealed. They paid like $600 or $700.
Yeah, I know.
For a steel. This is bone mint in the shrink. Yeah, $7.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a big one. I think in the price guide we got it for maybe $75, maybe.
75, but $7.
Yeah, for $7. Yeah, that's
$7. Come on, I mean, how can you beat it? I'm trying to remember what I paid. This is the Elvis's Back orange flex, though, in the gatefold.
But it's got the gatefold.
It's got the gatefold,
right?
Which is
That's
to
rare.
find. It's tough to find this with the gatefold.
And see, that's a perfect example of the records I was talking about in the last show.
Yep.
That's a reissue because it came in the gatefold cover. That baby is going to be worth a lot of money down the road.
Yeah.
What did you pay for that? You remember?
Well, you sold it to me. I can't. You know what? I want to say maybe $75.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe 75. It was under 100.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's this cover is tough to find.
I know.
Now this is what I have to represent Elvis's Back. I do not have an earlier version of this. You know how hard it is to find originals of that.
Yeah,
it's almost.
I know.
I don't want to just get junk. So to me, if that's all I ever find, then I'm happy with that. I brought this one again. This was I think I paid like $30. How Great Thou Art, orange.
Is that the rigid? Oh yeah, okay.
Got the Grammy on the back.
Right. And how much? 30?
$30.
Yeah, that's.
I know it's in the book for more than that.
It is.
But I have that. So that's my How Great Thou Art. Actually, I'm sorry. I think I have another one in there. I think I have a first press, but I pulled this one just because I got it so cheap.
Well, you know what's funny though, John? Sometimes the reissues are really worth more. I mean, I think that one is probably worth more than original How Great Thou Art, because those are a dime a dozen.
Yeah, I would rather have this in some ways because it's got the Grammy thing on the back. Now there's the other one with the Grammy sticker on the front. Right. I don't have one of those. I like that too, but I like it with the Grammy that they acknowledged with that on the back.
Right.
This was all together. This is Girls. Bone Mint in the I think it's in the shrink though. Living stereo.
Mm-hmm.
With the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
I think altogether I have about $120 into this.
Okay. Just recently on Facebook, they were talking about the calendar came out around, remember the single Return to Sender?
Yeah.
And it said, make sure you get the calendar on the sleeve. Okay. Your 1963 calendar. So I brought up the point, and I thought it was a pretty good point, that maybe the reason why there's a calendar with 45s on the back is because that was the giveaway for the 45 of Return to Sender when you bought it. That would explain why there's two, because nobody really officially ever said, well, there's the reason why there's a 45s and an LP. Like they were just saying they were random.
Yeah.
They just threw one out, or you could take whichever one you wanted. But I the more I thought about it after reading that post, I thought, you know what, that seems pretty logical that the 45s one was for the 45 of Return to Sender. That's why it says be sure and get your calendar on it, So that's interesting.
This is a World's Fair.
Mm-hmm.
It's a living stereo. Bone in the baggie.
Okay.
In the bag, and the bonus photo.
Mm-hmm.
And I think altogether I have maybe $125 in this.
Okay.
Which is well under book price.
Well, and don't forget the photo by itself. At one point in time, people were paying up to $200 just for the photo.
Yeah.
At one point in time.
You see, I keep all my records now. I didn't used to do this. This is the first time where I put all the records in the mobile fidelity sleeves.
The sleeves.
I keep them separate out. I never used to do that. I used to just keep them in the cover. Now I separate them out.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this was way under book price.
Mm-hmm.
Well under the book price. So then I have a couple of unusual ones here. Remember this one? There's not too many Pickwicks.
Right.
This is the green.
As a matter of fact, that was on I think elvisrecords.com on Facebook page. Somebody had just asked a question about it and said, why is there a greenback? And then, if I'm correct, it's because it was a giveaway in Las Vegas in 1975.
Las Vegas, $10 at a show.
I'll give you $10 for it.
Yeah, well, there you go. And I got this one just from you recently. This is that. This one is kind of unusual, but you figure how many of these are out there. This is that it was a rental at libraries.
Right.
You know? It's from the library.
And what song? It has one song, right?
Yeah, it's got one song.
Is it?
Oh, it's Mystery Train.
Mystery Train, right?
Mystery Train, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually, for people who collect various artists.
Yeah.
The reason maybe a lot of people don't know this, and I should bring it up, is various artists' albums after Elvis died were a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Because RCA licensed out Elvis's catalog for whatever reason, and it ended up on different RCA compilations, like greatest hits of the 50s or 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And it was country hits or whatever. And it had one Elvis song. Well, those were common after Elvis died. They popped up all over the place, especially on RCA special products. Okay. But the rare ones, like the one you have there, those were rare because RCA did not license out Elvis's material. So everybody, just as a rule of thumb, if you collect various artist collections, then you want to, anything that came out with one Elvis song or two Elvis songs prior to his death are definitely worth more money than the other ones that came out after.
Yeah. And that, leading into that, here, you were with me when I just bought this. So I pulled, this is the last one I had pulled.
Oh my God. Yeah. And that's another example.
Yep. This is a Playboy put this out, the Playboy Hall of Fame, and it's 2 albums set. There's a bunch of people on it. And it's a weird one because it's got I don't know why they, with all Elvis's songs for the Playboy, why they would put Long Lonely Highway.
Right. They actually, but what's weird is that's not what not what they call it.
No, it's called Moving Down the Line. Yeah, and it says from the production of Tickle Me.
Right. The first time I ever saw that, I thought that's weird. I mean, why would they mistitle the song? You know what I mean? So very, very strange. But that sucker is very rare. I remember when you got it. That thing is rare.
$10, and it's in the. I looked it up. It's in the price guide for $100. I paid $10, and this is bone mint. It says 78.
Oh, 78.
78.
Right after he died. Okay.
Yeah.
But still, it was only available to members of the Playboy Club, I think.
Record shows are a good place to go to look for Elvis.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I want to mention to everybody one of your biggest pet peeves that you used to always say. I mean, God, if I had $1 for every time you ever said it, I'd be rich. You keep running into people in record stores and dealers and everything, and what do they always say? Elvis doesn't sell. That kind of thinking, that Elvis doesn't sell. That opens the door to getting great stuff for next to nothing, because they see it and they don't think anything of it, And on that note, we're going to cut to that interview where you interviewed this dealer at a record show about this exact topic. All right, so let's cut to that. Okay.
I'm at a record show here in Griffith, Indiana, and I'm about to talk to Rob Coyle, and we have a question for him about the selling of Elvis. Does Elvis sell anymore? Do you have trouble selling Elvis records?
I do have trouble selling Elvis records. He does not sell anywhere like he used to. Like I told you earlier, the first two still go, his rockabilly stuff, and then the rarities, of course. You get a Speedway mono, there's somebody looking for that. You get, the gold standard sleeves like we talked about with the orange labels. Yeah, there's somebody to buy that. But your common stuff.
No. But are you not selling because you don't get as much? You can't find as much?
I don't find as much.
If you have a ton, would you sell it?
The way I look at all this is it's real estate, correct? Yeah. So I don't want to take up real estate with 2 boxes of Elvis that aren't going to move. My best things are like maybe a greatest hits for the girls 40 and under, that will go. And then the first 2, if I have the first 2 Elvis records, then I'll do okay. But yeah, as far as that goes, I just don't stock a lot of Elvis. It's not because I don't have it, it's just because it doesn't sell. It sells much better online, and it goes overseas.
Overseas, yeah. Do you have a lot of people come up and ask for Elvis even as much anymore?
No, maybe unfortunately not.
One out of what, 50 people? 1 out of 25 people?
No, and I've sold 80,000 records over the last 2 years, so this is me rebuilding. I probably have another 5,000 records at home, so I need to get my cards in there, but that was the only way I'd ever sell Elvis. I never got anybody to actually come up and ask me for Elvis. It would be if I had a card that said Elvis Presley, or the King.
In all these years, but different today than years ago?
So much different today. I've been selling for 30 years. So much different today. Yes, back in the day, I mean, the stuff that would sell, the doo-wop stuff, and Elvis, and Ricky Nelson, and Fabian, and Paul Anka, all that stuff flew, that kind of thing, But now
Swift.
It's, unfortunately. Well, more fortunately, if your daughter's a Taylor Swift fan, right?
She's a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Well, that's...
that is the state of the collecting today. To a lot of these kids, rock and roll doesn't start until 77 with the Sex Pistols and Ramones, so it's just, I think it's just a different age is what it comes down to. My dad was in the business before I, started in 96, that kind of thing. And, we sold a lot of Elvis back in those days, but you could find it. We lived in Terre Haute at the time, so you had Columbia House out there. Then when we moved to Morristown, Indiana, which is about 30 miles east of Indianapolis, you'd hit garage sales. I mean, he had an Econoline van, and it was nothing to come home by lunchtime, have 1,000, 2,000 LPs, sealed LPs from everybody that worked in these plants, unload, eat lunch, and go back out and hit another 1,000 records and come home, So there was a lot of Elvis back in those days, but I just don't know where it got lost. I think a lot of it's in collections.
Yeah.
I have to think that because... for that matter, where's Dave Clark 5? Where's, Jerry and the Pacemakers? Where are these guys at? I think they're sitting in collections. I mean, the Goodwill should be overrun with this stuff, but we never see it. I don't know about you. I never see it.
Is the newer stuff, the later pressings that people want, that we don't realize how rare they are because they didn't print as many. The AFLs, the AYLs,
the
stuff like the TANs, stuff like that.
So do you think this is a great time to be collecting Elvis records?
Yes, but I think, yeah, I think you have to do, if you want to get bargains, you got to work at it. You got to go to record shows. You got to do your due diligence, as they say. eBay can still be good. When I deal with eBay, though, I usually avoid the ones with the auctions. I usually just go to Best Buy where it says buy it now. Because that way I don't have to mess with the auctions, because I never seem to win. So I look for stuff. I've gotten some stuff in here too that I bought on eBay, buy it now. And I click on it, I buy it now. And I've gotten good prices on some of the various artist ones or some of the other oddball ones that I've gotten for, I would type in a title, 50 years, 50 hits, maybe 10, 15 of them come up. I go through the whole, and it takes a little time. And I look for the ones that's either something sealed or it's a good price or it's in the mint shrink wrap. You got to do your homework.
But wouldn't you say, though, it's a great time to collect Elvis if you're just collecting for the fun of it? You know what I mean? I mean, I remember back in the old days, and you remember too, at all the record shows and stuff, we know a lot of collectors that buy stuff because of the value. That's why one person commented on about my show saying, well, you're basically just focusing on values and, how much something costs or how much it's worth when you talk about your show. And I do, because that's how we were, collecting years ago, but it's kind of, it's you can't do that much anymore. I mean, because the value of records have gone down because of their availability. So basically, when you say that it's a great time to collect only if you're collecting records, not for investment, or what do you think of that?
Well, it should always be fun. That's the main. To me, the fun is the hunt and finding something, that thrill when you're thumbing through records and suddenly there's something in front of you and maybe it's rare or it's super clean. You say, "Oh my God, it's $10 for it." So right. It should always be fun. I do, because I bought and sold, I do tend to look at it. My premise is the old adage: buy low, sell high. So I always, because down the road I may sell all of this. You can't take it with you. So even all of this stuff, I'm 65 years old. I don't know what the future. If I reach a point where I just say I'm done.
But do you think that even if you get a full collection back, do you think the value of it's going to drop?
Well,
like you'll never be able to get what you got for the last one.
Well, it depends where you sell it, who you sell it to. If you take it perhaps to Memphis or you do some shows, you might do well. If you just say, "Oh, I got to get rid of it," and some dealer comes to your house and buys it for 30, 40 cents on the dollar, then you're just going to get, you're going to get what you can from the dealer, whatever he's going to, because he's looking to turn around and make the profit. So it depends where you sell it then. If you have other friends that want to buy it, where you can name your price and sell it, that's obviously the best way. The thing that's the worst is if you sell it to a dealer, because they're not going to pay you shit for it. You know that.
I don't put myself in that same category, by the way. But
this is only about 1 year of work here. It only took me about a year to put.
Well, I remember when you said you were going to do it, and I said, "What? You're going to try and get it all back?" And you said, "No. I just want to get one American title."
Yeah,
because you got all these foreign records. So you said, "I just want to get one American title." So I remember you even bought some from me. You were buying reissues, and I thought, "Oh, okay, well that'll be easy to do." But then then a couple of times you showed me and you said, "Look, I got a King Creole."
That's happened.
I'm like, what? Or I got like that Paradise Hawaiian style for $7.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
My 1254 is a dog near top. My 1382 is a dog near top 70, because I haven't found, I said I haven't found nice originals of some of those early albums, and I'm happy with those. It's an RCA press, and you talked about on the show, those are set from 1976. Dog,
I know.
That's a long time ago.
I know, and people don't even look at it like that. They go, "Oh, well, that's just a reissue."
Yeah,
it's like almost 50 years old now.
Official Elvis Presley pressing from RCA at night. Elvis was still alive when those were pressed.
Now, wait a minute. Do you have a copy of one of the records I talked about on the show on stage with the different back cover?
I have the different background. Yes.
So you do.
I do have that.
And you wouldn't pass it up, right?
No, I have some AQLs, something for everybody with the alternate back. cover.
Oh, that's right.
You know,
The what was it? The rhythm side.
Right now, I'm collecting too anything that's oddball. If I find something that's an rare AFL or an AQL or something, I buy it too. Those I'm collecting too.
Even if you're not willing to pay a lot of money for something, remember we were talking about this where the number one mistake that every collector makes is they'll see something like at a show, and it's like $100 or $200 or whatever, and they know that it's worth that, right? But they go, oh well, I'm just going to walk away. Maybe I'll find it on eBay or whatever, and then they change their mind. They go back and it's gone, right? Yeah. I mean, we had the same thing happen, right?
We had the history. We saw
that from Memphis to Vegas.
We saw Memphis to Vegas, Vegas to Memphis with a sticker
sealed.
They both passed on it, and then someone went back that we know who went back and bought it, and now I know who owns it too. But yeah, that was dumb. Yeah, we make mistakes too. I've been doing this a long time, and we still make mistakes.
I think it's just a common mistake that collectors make.
Yeah,
and I think eBay and Discogs and things of that nature is partially the cause of that, because you always in the mind, you see something, and even though it's worth that, you're going to say, you know what, I can always find it on eBay.
I could have got it for $250.
I know.
$250.
Sealed.
And I had the money in my pocket.
If I had asked you for the money, then I would have had the money, and then I could have bought it. But I didn't buy it because I didn't have the money at the time. Yeah, nuts. It's crazy.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, you know what? You live and learn, right? That's what happens.
That's it. You live in, I made the mistake. Like I said, I've gotten screwed over by people too, and I passed on stuff I should have bought. I remember I bought not too long ago, there was a beautiful Christmas at the LOC 1035. It was pretty nice. Guy had $60 on it. I walked away. Went back an hour later. Oh, I'm buying it. What am I thinking? And it was gone.
Yep.
And it was gone at the show.
And you know what? That also applies, folks, to eBay and some other things, because I sell on eBay all the time. And every once in a while, I'll put something on and it's up in 5 days or 7 days. And I keep track, and I notice that, it gets a lot of views, but nobody will bid. Nobody wants to bid until like the last second. And then all of a sudden it doesn't sell. And then I get 2 emails, people saying, oh, damn, your auction, it ended. I should have, are you going to put it back up and this and that? And it's like, well, why did you just bid on it? You know what I mean? Because it was a low bid to begin with, It's hard for me as a dealer to put stuff on eBay and, that I know is worth money. I know it's worth more than, an opening bid of $10. I got to pay eBay fees. And there's other things like mailers and all this other stuff. So it's not like I only get a fraction of that money. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, if you see something for cheap, just get it. Just put the bid in, I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. So it's just the way people are. It's the way people collect.
There was a dealer who once said to me, like, it was at one of your shows, and he said, really, when you think about it, everybody is a dealer, because at some point you're going to sell.
When you get to a certain age, don't be afraid to part with it, because if you really want to get what you think it's worth, that would make you happy. Knowing that you're not going to be here forever, you should do it while you can. They tell me, well, I'm going to leave it to my kids. Well, all right. So I'm going to wrap up with that. Okay, John?
Okay. That's good.
All right.
That's fine.
So does it feel good that you didn't have to drive to my house?
Oh yeah. This is great. Computer technology, it's neat that
well, we'll do this again, but I still think I'd like to have you back on the show. And I think everybody else would agree with that.
Yeah. I like it. That this is, like I said, people have a chance to see my stuff.
It's good to peek into your collection a little bit, and at least everybody kind of knows, because I'm sure a lot of people have heard you talk about all the records you have and everything. Yeah. And of course, 90% of everything there is sealed, right?
Oh yeah, I would say most of what you see, not on that shelf, but most of what you see on this shelf is all sealed, mint sealed, put away. Yep, don't open it. So
all right.
Some people like that, some people don't, but I leave it. I like it sealed. So.
Okay, so that was our interview with Johnny B, catching up with him and seeing what was going on. We have another show coming up with Elvis book author Joe Tunzi, as I mentioned earlier, as well as another collector's show featuring the rarer collector items from the collection of Neil Spencer. Those items will be 56 memorabilia, things from Elvis Presley Enterprises that the Colonel had put together and was selling in the 50s to promote Elvis Presley. Plus, we'll be showing some things, rarities from the 70s. Also, I want to remind everybody that there's a brand new Elvis YouTube channel called Elvis Straight Up, hosted by Elvis collector, book author, and aficionado Joe Russo. On the first episode, Joe interviews Billy Stanley, one of Elvis's stepbrothers, and it is available now on YouTube. I've known Joe for a very long time, and he was a regular at my Collecting the King conventions in Memphis, Tennessee throughout the years. And he will also be a guest on a future show. So be sure and check out his new channel when you get a chance. Elvis Straight Up. So folks, that's about it for now. And I hope you enjoyed our little conversation with Johnny B, and we will be back with more. So until next time, I'm Robert Alaniz, and as usual, I'm out of here.